All right, for more on this, I'm now being joined by Dr. Mir Javed Anfar, lecturer of Iranian politics at Reichman University in Israel. Dr. Javed Anfar, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you, sir.
The address from Donald Trump, 9 p.m. US time, he comes out, starts off soon off, saying that the war objectives are nearly achieved and 2 to 3 weeks more. Let's just take it from there. While this speech was going on, or minutes after it, sirens were blaring in Israel and Iran was firing missiles. While Trump is saying that we're going to bomb Iran into the Stone Age, do you find merit in what the US is saying as of now? Will 2 to 3 weeks be the exact timeline, as Iran only seems more emboldened given the kind of impact they've had in these last 32 days across the Gulf and on Israel as well in this war?
Well, in terms of achieving the goal of severely weakening Iran's military-industrial complex and Iran's missile production capabilities, I think 2 to 3 weeks could be sufficient. Yes, that could happen. In terms of opening the Strait of Hormuz, that I'm not sure. That could take longer, but of course it depends on a number of variables, including Iran's ability to withstand a massive US attack, and more important than that, including the amount of force that the US is willing to apply, the amount of boots on the ground that the US is willing to risk. So if we're talking about opening up the Strait of Hormuz, I'm not sure. No, 2 to 3 weeks, I'm not sure. But I think it's very important for your viewers to be informed of the fact that, on the one hand, closing the Strait of Hormuz is bad for the global economy, for many of the Western countries that buy US products, for many of the Persian Gulf countries that buy US products and invest in the US. But on the other hand, President Trump does not seem to be in a hurry to open it, and he's calling on other countries to open it up, because President Trump's main nemesis on the international stage is China. China imports 37% of its oil needs through the Strait of Hormuz. This is as opposed to only 7% of US oil needs going through the Strait of Hormuz every day. So I think President Trump wants to use this crisis in order to pressure the Chinese, because it's the Chinese who stand to lose out the most from Iran's current policy of threatening shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. And this is something that strengthens President Trump's hands in the upcoming negotiations with the Chinese, because the Chinese have the Trump card of being able to use their monopoly almost over rare earth processing. So President Trump wants to now use the Strait of Hormuz and what's happening there as his Trump card.
I hear your point, Doctor. Let me argue that out. As you mentioned that there's no urgency for Trump. Let's remind our viewers, these are just facts coming out from the US. Trump had initially given a 48-hour deadline to Iran to open up the Strait of Hormuz. That suggests an urgency. Then there was, Iran did not submit to that. There was a 5-day deadline beyond that. Iran did not submit. And these are again deadlines to open the Strait of Hormuz. A deadline would indicate an urgency. Then there was a 10-day deadline, which approximately ends on the 6th of April. And before we reach that date, there are signs from the US side saying, we don't really need to open it up, we can exit it, because it perhaps does not affect their daily living. When it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, Iran, over the course of the last 32 days, has realized during the course of this war the kind of impact that they can have on the global economy, the kind of blockade they can cause and the impact that it can have. Has Iran now realized the strength that it had, which it perhaps did not realize before? Is Iran realizing the kind of strength it has just controlling the Strait of Hormuz, which still remains blocked?
Correct, Shivan. Yes, this is a new geopolitical fact that countries have to deal with. Let's just say the war ends tomorrow with the overwhelming US success and Israeli success in terms of removing the enriched uranium, and Iran even temporarily opening up ships in the Strait of Hormuz because of Chinese acquiescence. But this is something that Iran has seen that works. This is leverage that the Islamic Republic has seen that works. And next time if there's a dispute with the West, if there's a dispute with the Persian Gulf countries, I think the Iranians would be very much willing to use this tool as a pressure, as leverage to get what they want. And Shivan, what you quite rightly said, President Trump keeps making threats, then he walks back. He keeps making another threat, then he walks back from that threat. His supporters say, well, that's his style. He keeps the enemy guessing. Nobody is exactly sure what he's going to do. I disagree. I think that shows weakness. If you're not going to fulfill your threat, don't make it. He keeps making these threats and he walks back from them. And I think overall, Shivan, this is going to be a new factor in terms of dealing with Iran. And I go as risky as it is to make a prediction. With that caveat, I would go as far as saying that the countries of the Persian Gulf and the oil producers who rely on the Strait of Hormuz after this war will have more to worry about regarding Iran's actions than perhaps the state of Israel or America. Because this is a tool that the Iranians are going to use far more than anything else, specifically also because their missile production capabilities are being decimated, and their nuclear program is now even not enriching anymore.
Doctor, let me come in there as far as the decimation of the missile program is concerned. And this is where I had started. While Trump was giving that speech, a response was coming in the form of missiles from Iran towards Israel. And it wasn't just Israel. The Gulf countries that Trump mentioned, he was thanking his Middle East partners, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, mentioning that we will take care of you, we will protect you. And during that speech, in less than 24 hours before that speech, all these countries were targeted by Iran. Is their missile program really that diminished? Yes, it has taken damage. There is no denying that. We've seen visuals. They've gone all around the world. Is it diminished to the extent that the US is claiming? Because they are still very much in the fight.
Well, Shivan, I'm not sure exactly what terminology President Trump used. In terms of, if he said that we have completely diminished and destroyed Iran's existing stockpiles of missiles, then that would not be correct. But I don't know exactly what words
he's been very liberal in using words like obliterated, decimated, destroyed. You've heard that. We've heard how Donald Trump speaks. But because of the volume of those statements, it's so fast, it's a little difficult to really pin it down to one thing that he said because it changes very fast. There is a lot of divergence. But these are words that have been used for Iran's missile program, which was apparently also one of the objectives. But then we see the attacks carrying out. Iran has, in a way, established that they can target all these Gulf countries when it wants. It's established itself as one of the toughest nations in West Asia, and that's essentially what we're trying to debate or argue or maybe just agree to at this point. Has this war established Iran as a force to reckon with, not just in West Asia, but overall?
Shivan, Iran's missile capabilities, which from what we have heard, the production lines have been attacked, and also the state of Israel and the United States are hunting its missiles to missile launchers. But of course, many of the missiles are stored underground or in mountains, and they are still hidden there, and they're still firing at Israel and all the other countries. So yes, Iran does have a capable missile force, and we have not been able to completely destroy their stockpile. There have been reports of destruction of the production lines. In terms of has Iran turned into a world power or a regional power because of its military capabilities? Well, Shivan, a military capability is as good as the political results that it produces. And what we have seen is that Iran's missile capabilities have created an unprecedented number of enemies for Iran in the Persian Gulf region. Israel and the US attack them. Yes, we are at war with them. But the Iranians use their missile and their drones to attack almost all of the Persian Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia, who did not attack Iran. And they see Iran as a serious threat, and they are going to be bankrolling or perhaps, I don't know, participating in future conflicts with Iran. And this is where the missile program had the opposite. Instead of producing deterrence, it has actually encouraged other Persian Gulf countries to confront the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Dr. Javed Nafar, thank you so much for your time. And I believe your perspective and all that you understand and the read into and the facts that we've also presented give our viewers a better understanding of how to position Iran today. Thank you so much. Would love to discuss this with you more as this war only intensifies at this point.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.